Hi, it's Juris and welcome to Tattoo Shop Talk, and today we will take a look at one small but mighty machine by Dragonhawk or Mast. It's the Mast Racer Pro Super Hertz. It would be this tattoo machine, and I'll do our usual. It's ups, it's downs, and who this machine might be for. Let's start with the tattoo machine itself. It's this tiny little thing. You can see it next to, let's say, like Apple Pencil. It's really compact tattoo machine, and it's also relatively budget friendly. It costs around $200, plus you can get affiliate links. If you want to support our channel, then use our links and get discounts, and we will get a little kickback as well. So if you do that, thank you for that. So that makes it below 200 US. Obviously keep in mind that depending on where are you located, there can be some import tax or shipping costs. They promise that above some amount it's free shipping, but keep in mind that things may vary from different parts of the world. It's small, it fits nice in a hand, and it's very well balanced. And why it's very well balanced? Because battery is placed in an interesting space. You can hear it's the clicky adjustment of a grip, and we open it up. Boom, and that's the battery on a machine, and it clips off. Boom, so that's the machine. That's all the inside. You can access push rod, and as usual there's quite a bit of lubricant on a machine, on a push rod. And then you put the battery on, and you can push it in, and you can ally. There's an arrow, and it clips in a little bearing, sort of clips in a hole, and it holds it in, and then you screw grip back on. If that's around the center, it would be sort of still wanting to tip forward, so it's sort of very forward balanced tattoo machine. I wear XL gloves. This is how it fits in my hand. You can see a little bit smaller would be maybe even too small. You can buy just the tattoo machine, or you can add like $12 and you get a bit of a kit. There's different needles and some accessories. Is it worth it? I don't know, but if you want to try needles, why not to try them? It's only $12 more. This tattoo machine also has few accessories. One of them would be, which I think is a good thing to have, it's this little charging hub and USB-C cable clips in the back, and then you clip the battery in. It has a little magnetic feeling to it, and it charges and the light lights up. Nice little thing to have just for peace of mind. If your battery ran out, you have another one charging, so you can swap them. Not a big investment, and you have extra battery. Another interesting accessory is the foot pedal. It was a bit hard to figure out how to switch on Bluetooth. I read the manual, I did it. It didn't happen from the first go. I had to scratch my brain a bit. Once it's connected, now it's connecting flawlessly and it's all good. And I lost the manual, and I couldn't find manual online, which is not smart not to have the manual online, or if it's online, at least make it easier to find, because I didn't find one online, and the paper one I lost. So I wanted to demonstrate how to do that, and I forgot, so I can't do it. But this foot pedal is only $27 at the moment. It's pretty neat. There's a charging port. It comes in a box with the charging cable. You switch it on, press on off button. Boom, it's on. Little light starts to blink. Let's switch on machine. It's blinking. Now it's green. It's paired. And it has two modes. Now the switch is turned to the right if I look at it, to my right. And if I press it, it would work as long as I press it. So I hold it and it works, I let go, it stops. And then I switch it to the other side. Boom, it's the mode where you tap it and it's running. Tap it one more time and it stops. For them who cannot live without pedals. Option is there and very budget friendly. Now let's look at the tattoo machine itself, what it does, how it feels. First time I heard about this tattoo machine, well, not this one, but previous model, was on one tattoo convention. One gentleman showed me that he got this tattoo machine, and I found it really interesting that battery is up here in the front. Previous model was 4mm stroke, this one is 4.2mm stroke. That gentleman was very satisfied. He does black and gray type of stuff. He was super happy with this machine, and he worked with sort of more known brand tattoo machines, and this was his daily driver since he got it. I found it really interesting due to compact size. I wanted to try that model, but company reached out now with this one, so why not to try upgraded model, 4.2mm stroke, and it's packed with all sorts of interesting stuff and silly stuff. So this is this tattoo machine. There's the LED light ring, which is now switching through the colors, and I can double press the buttons and it's changing. Boom, double press blue, off, blue, yellow, boom, boom. That's unnecessary, but it's there. What is cool, there are two ways to work with it, sort of two general modes. Company recommends to work on a Hertz mode. If you double click the run button, you can see it changes from volts to Hertz, which is already cool. And now in each of those modes, let's start with the volt mode. It's even in the name, it says Super Hertz, and in a manual it's written that they recommend to work on a Hertz mode. But in a volts mode it goes from 4, and then to change volts you have to run machine. It goes from 4 to 12, cycles through pretty quickly. It's also pretty quiet, the tattoo machine, which is also positive. 4 to 12 volts, pretty self-explanatory. One button is up voltage, other button is down. What is interesting, you adjust voltage while machine is running. If it's not running and you press up and down buttons, it will switch in between modes of lining and shading. And that's like a preset, and I love presets. That's a pretty cool thing to have. So you see at the bottom, I don't know if you see, I'll have to put it up, but now when it's not running, you press buttons left and right, or just left, and it switches between liner and shading, and that will save your presets. It don't have to be for lining and shading, it's just called lining and shading, but you can have two saved voltages. So let's say you work with 6 and 7.1 on different needs, so you just switch in between them, boom, and it changes. If machine is running, you change voltage and it will stay at that voltage. Once you switch it off, switch back, and it changes between those presets, which is pretty cool. And now let's look at Hertz mode. That's where things are even more interesting. Now we have Hertz displayed. If machine is running, we can adjust Hertz up and Hertz down. And when machine is not running, you press those buttons and it changes between modes, which are soft, medium and hard. And these are those modes that many tattoo machines have these days. It sort of makes it softer or harder depending on which mode you are, but that's what it's called, artificial, the sort of digital softening of tattoo machine hit. I honestly haven't used soft and medium much, only by accident. When I switched it, I used it all the time on hard setting. That's pretty cool. The option is there. Why not to have it? On this mode, things get pretty interesting. So let's put it wherever. Hard. Top Hertz is 140, which is pretty fast. And then we go down on Hertz. Oh, I forgot to run it. So it switched through the modes. That's something you have to keep in mind. And now bottom sort of limit of Hertz is 31 Hertz. While running on regular mode, and then we have it on 31 and we go down in Hertz and it switches to 15, and now we can go down to 3 Hertz. This is actual like a dot mode. It's 3 Hertz would be 3 hits per second. I'll put needle in. They also sent us needles. They sent few boxes of these little samples. They are called Dragonhawk YUE or VUE, whatever. They're pretty cool cartridges, so if you're shopping with them, again, something you can check and try. And what's interesting, cartridge itself has this very little opening on a cartridge itself, which is funny, but when you work with them, it's hard to see which way sort of is needle up or down, because that opening is so small. When you work, it's easy to rotate, and then you're like, oh, why there's a sharper corner, and you have already turned it around. But they are pretty pointy, pretty skinny needles. They are fun to work with. They feel a bit different. We are at 3 Hertz. Let's go 5. Let's go 10. And 15. Oh, 31. And that's pretty cool that this mode exists. I did a review on a different brand's tattoo machine, which also had a dot mode, but that had these bursts of hits. It wouldn't be like a single hit, it would be like bzz, bzz, bzz. This one is actual hit. The needle moves once in a time. It's not like those bursts, so it's just needle punk, 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 which is pretty cool, and it actually works. I wasn't brave enough to try it on customer, but I tried on myself. I tattooed around my knee. I tried different types of dot needles. First I did dotting by hand just to have some sort of baseline, and then I tried modes at different speeds. It is a bit weird, you had to get used to it. It is a relatively light tattoo machine, so you have to push sort of a bit harder than if you would do with the regular tattooing and putting dots. And I was very happy with results, but it was interesting to try different speeds and also interesting to try different needle groupings that are those interesting dot work type of needle groupings. And this dot mode actually works. Check it out. It's quiet tattoo machine. My colleague loves a bit heavier music. When he was working with it, he said he couldn't hear it at all. You can hear it, but it is quiet machine. 85 Hertz. That's where I used it for lining, around 85, so I would go from 90 to 80, depends on what I'm doing. I wanted to mention also that to unbox all these products was pure pleasure. Everything slides off nicely and packaging have these nice seals, not only on tattoo machine but also on accessories. That part, when you buy new gadgets, for me, I find it exciting, and I find it upsetting when you get a new gadget but unboxing is relatively crappy. This was super nice. This is one of the best, if not the best, unboxing experience in tattoo machines so far. In a box with tattoo machine you get user manual that I lost already, a little suggestion sheet how they recommend to use what frequencies on like dot work, lining, coloring and all that good stuff. Even this part is nice where the machine sits in, and then you get few gaskets and a silica gel. I'm pretty sure that there was cable for charging as well. Now let's go to downsides. These days there are not many downsides to tattoo machines. They are built pretty well, and even relatively cheap ones work well. I would call this not downsides but sort of 50-50, which could be better in my opinion for me, not for everyone else. One is it's very light tattoo machine, and for me it's maybe even a bit too light. I wouldn't want it to be like heavier as a whole thing. They could have something like a steel grip or just different type of grip which is a bit more front heavy. I would prefer just a bit more weight to it, maybe a bit more weight in the front. That's my personal thought. I don't think it's a problem for everyone, and many people prefer their tattoo machines as light as possible, and this one is pretty light one. Another sort of downside, but not really, because you can understand it's because to have that weight smaller. The screen is pretty small, but that's understandable to keep it down in size and everything. There's a lot of things displayed on screen, so sometimes, like for example those modes, your machine is packed, it's really hard to see. You really have to like look for it and try buttons and see like what's changing. Are you on the right mode? For example, soft, medium or hard. Or because you switch in between modes when it's not running while you are used to changing voltage. That way you can accidentally switch from medium to soft mode, and then you run it and maybe it feels different, and then you have to check and see on which mode, especially under the plastic, and if there's some glide on top of it, it's a bit harder to see. It's kind of a downside that screen is too small, or maybe there's too many things happening on the screen. They tried to show you everything. There's like timer mode, battery, voltage, soft mode, medium, liner or shader. It is a nice screen. It's sort of pretty bright, but there's just a lot of things happening. Then sort of a silly thing, that LED ring. I don't know why manufacturers think that it's necessary. It would be more useful if the color changed from voltage, like the old critical tattoo power supplies had it, so you know like you roughly at what voltage from what color is displayed. Here it's just sort of a styling thing. I think it's unnecessary. Obviously if you're into that, if it fits your aesthetic, option is there. If it wouldn't be there, you could maybe shrink the tattoo machine by another 2 millimeters and it would be even smaller. Now, how to wrap it, or how do I wrap it? It's not only like this way to wrap it. That's how I figured out how I wrap it and how it works for me. Again, my favorite, sticky plastic. There we go. First, I do a layer on top of the machine where all the motor and controls are. You can probably use scissors and do it a bit nicer than I do, but I just put a thing on and just wrap it, and that's where my multiple layers of plastic comes on, which can obstruct screen. Also, it's small and digits are squarish, and sometimes when you work you turn it around and you're like, since when I work on 58 Hertz but it's other way around, then you're like, oh no, it's actually 85. It's sort of not easy to tell which is up, which is down, just because of its size. The fonts, the numbers, and where it's located, you can spin it around. Back to packing. Then I take another sheet of sticky plastic, drop it on a grip. That type of a thing, don't have to be very precise. And then I take another sheet, fold it like that, and then I put it on a grip part, and the non-sticky part overlaps with the top part. Don't want to go too high up. And there we have this, and then a bit of grip tape. And then we have this situation going on, and you can still adjust needle length by holding it here and turning grip around. Keep in mind that when you do it, buttons are on a side, so be careful where you grab it. Don't push buttons by accident, or don't change modes by accident. So when you adjust that, either have machine running and see what's up, and if it's off, be careful when you adjust. Don't hit run button by accident, and don't tattoo yourself with somebody else yuckies on a needle. This way it's nice, it's packed, everything is covered, and you can adjust needle depth. It makes it a bit trickier to unpack, and when unwrap, obviously keep in mind what's open, what's not. Don't touch clean parts with dirty hands and you will be good. If anything, you can clean this tattoo machine pretty well as well, because you can take grip off, you can take battery off, you can access push rod. All good news. Because it's such a light tattoo machine, I mainly used it with smaller groupings from 3 liner to up like back pin 9, and for small magnums like 7. Just because it's such a lightweight tattoo machine, it doesn't feel like those machines could push a lot, but 4.2mm stroke motor should be capable to do it. I just didn't feel comfortable to try because of its size. When I will have more comfortable piece on some customer who's chill, I can try bigger groupings. So far I used it with small ones. I don't see the reason why it wouldn't work. If there will be many things that I will discover later, I will discover that it works amazing with bigger groupings, or I'll figure out some sort of fun techniques how to use dot modes or whatever. I'll make a follow-up video. Yet so far this is what I have tried, and I can comfortably recommend to others. Who this tattoo machine might be for? First model I got recommended by a gentleman who does black and gray stuff, and I believe that this one would work fine for that as well. For example, if I compare it to something like my Bishop Packer wand, I found that this feels lighter. Maybe it's because of weight, because the motor is on both 4.2mm, probably not the same motor, but it feels softer or lighter. Or maybe it's because of weight, you have to put a bit more work yourself. And with those additional modes to soften the hit up, I believe that it should work for black and gray. For everyone who likes to use smaller needles, I tried from back pin 3 from 1003 and it was just fine. With its dot mode, it would be good for people who like to do a lot of dots. Be it dot work or be it whippy sort of peppery type of shading, you can run it really slow from 3 to 15 Hertz and you can experiment and find new ways to shade, or just to do dot work. Or maybe if your hand's getting tired from doing this all the time, you can try dot mode and run it as is. It is a bit strange, you have to get used to it. Maybe because it's lighter tattoo machine, I found it that you have to sort of push a bit more when you do those dots. One way to do it, I found, like, I put needle out enough so I could sort of push with the tube, sort of ride the tube in. Then I was sort of sure that it goes deep enough, but I'm not pushing it too hard. You have to try different stuff. Around in 20 minutes I sort of had figured out which speed works for me best, how I want to push it. If you're into that type of stuff, I think you'll find that this tattoo machine very interesting. And basically for everyone who wants a smaller tattoo machine, because this is very short one, very well balanced tattoo machine, has modes, all good news. Also good for them who wants to work with pedals. You have a pedal with 2 modes, get an extra accessories, and that's it for me. I think I said everything what I had on my notes. Now you do all the YouTube stuff. If you have anything to mention or have any thoughts on this tattoo machine, then leave that in the comment section. Check our video description, check our playlist. If you're shopping for tattoo products, use our affiliate links. That way you support our channel. You get a discount, we get a little kickback. Thank you for that. And do all the other YouTube things. Press like to this video. If you're super awesome, then share it. And if you have nothing to say, then leave some pointless comment just to feed algorithm gods. So maybe that will help our channel to be pushed a bit forward. Thank you for being around. Stay safe. Peace.